I embrace and encourage the youth to continue to do on that trajectory that they're on.
Beautifully said. Thank you. How about that, everyone? Okay. On that note, let's open some questions to the floor. We have members of the media. We've got friends of music. They're here to see you. And let's see, is there anybody that would like to ask a question? Please give your name and where you're from. Go ahead.
Hello, Thomas.
Hey, how are you?
Lovely to see you up here. Steve Collins from Australia.
Yes.
I remember around about 1968, I think we were registered to enter the classes in an Alabama university, and you were in a line with a couple of people. One of them was Lionel Richie, I think, and you each decided to form a band, and you went on and had great success, and I believe it was when you were supporting the Jackson 5, that's when you were signed to a very famous record label. Could you tell us about the label, and about what it was like there, and what it was like just getting your band together and writing your songs?
Check one. Okay, there we go. It reminds me of, I was a freshman at Tuskegee Institute, and I wanted to be on the talent show, and I thought it would be a good idea if I could put a band together and maybe we can be on the talent show. And so I'm standing in the registration line, and I hear this guy, a song by Eddie Harris. Eddie Harris was a jazz artist at the time. And I turned to him, I said, "Hey man, are you a musician?" This guy was very shy, you know. No, not really. I said, "Well, I'm looking to put a band together for the freshman talent show. And we're gonna be the Black Beatles." Oh, thank you. And he looked at me, he went, whoa, this guy is nuts. And I said, he said, "Well, I'm not a musician, but I live here with my grandmother, and I know some musicians, and she probably wouldn't mind you using her basement to audition the guys." I was like, "Oh, that's a good gesture." So I go to his grandmother's, and sure enough, there were some musicians there, and I start to audition these guys. And this guy comes down the stairway playing the saxophone, the same song that he was whistling. I said, "I thought you said you were a musician." "I play a little bit." I said, "Okay, you're in the band." This guy was Lionel Richie. And so we go on to win the freshman talent show, and we did an audition for this young group that was coming up that Motown Record has just signed, called the Jackson 5. And of course, for 2 years, we were the opening act, and it led to us getting our recording contract with Motown. And of course, having been exposed to Motown all my life, we know the Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, the Temptations, the Four Tops, Diana Ross and the Supremes, Gladys Knight and the Pips. So we were invited, and of course to sign with that label was a major part of our career.
Amazing. Do we have another question from the floor? From the media? Yes, we have one here. Your name and where you're from.
Hello, I'm Chris from Australia. I'm wondering, when you were growing up, obviously Motown, a huge influence, all those acts, but did you grow up listening to early music like blues and jazz? Were your parents into music? Were you hearing that on the radio in your house when you were coming up that country?
That's a very good question. My parents were all musicians, I grew up listening to them, and my sisters and brothers all played instruments as well. And so I got jealous when my sister that was 2 years older than me learned to play the guitar and everything. I said, whoa, I'm the only one that hasn't learned an instrument. I better get to it. And of course, having an audience where we would play in church, that's where I got started. And it was amazing just to, and back then, this is back in the 1800s before you were born. We had one radio station that played all the music. They would play the big band, they would play country, they would play gospel, they would play, jazz. So I listened to blues at night. So I was listening to all of these songs and different styles of music. And that's what really kind of gave me my inspiration to write music that crosses over to all the genres.
Answer your question? I'm just going to say something here too. Thomas, music trends have shifted so much over the decades, yet the classic Commodores sound and tune, it still gets everyone on their feet and humming along, no matter their age. For Commodores, and with you, what is the secret behind keeping that legendary energy so incredibly fresh every single time on stage?
Oh, that's a very good question. One of the things that happens when we walk out on that stage, we get the energy from the audience. And we are obviously waiting to give it back. And so when you can reciprocate in ways, and of course feeling, and writing music that penetrates to the hearts and the souls of people, and telling stories that are real, that people can relate to with simple melodies that they can sing along, even if they're not musicians. And that's been the key factor.
There you go, the energy comes from us, yeah? So let's give some energy today. Can you imagine what's happening tonight? Okay, next question. If anybody wants to, yes, how about you? From a local